Hello and welcome to the formal review. Today, we will be looking at the 2020 film, Palm Springs. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the review.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the formal review. This is season 3 episode 17. I thank you all for joining me once again. Now before I get started, like I said at the beginning of the last episode, I haven't had a lot of wanting to watch new films just because it's hard for me to always want to watch the streaming movies. I don't always get the same experience out of it. There's got to be a reason to watch it. And this film was kind of one of those, but I wasn't the biggest Andy Samberg fan, so I didn't really feel the need to watch it. And I honestly almost forgot about it until my fiance mentioned about it. She wanted to watch it, so we did. But before I get into it, this review will have some spoilers, but I will do my best not to ruin the movie for you. As I always say, I do suggest you go watch the film prior to hearing what I have to say about it so you fully understand everything. It is streaming on Hulu right now. However, if you don't care about that or only want to hear my thoughts, keep listening. Palm Springs is a 2020 romantic comedy film directed by Max Barbakow in his directional debut, and it was written by Andy Ciara. It stars Andy Samberg, Kristen Milotti, Peter Gallagher, and J.K. Simmons, and follows these two strangers who meet at Palm Springs' wedding, only to find out that they get stuck in a time loop. So prior to this movie, I did do a trailer reaction, so let's listen to that. Hi. Not gonna lie, this looks a little nice.
Run, Rabbit, run!
What?
Niles, don't come in here!
This is unexpected. So I guess
Good day so far?
Groundhog?
Today, tomorrow, it's all the same.
You! What is going on? Hey, get out of the water!
It's one of those infinite time loop situations you might have heard about.
That I might have heard about.
Yeah.
I like the idea of them commenting on this type of genre in like romantic comedy.
Goes back to the start.
It's kind of funny. So the romantic comedy Edge Tomorrow. That's what this is. It's not typical Andy Samberg, so it looks kind of funny and cute. Like I said, we're introduced to these characters at this wedding on November 9th in Palm Springs, California. At this wedding, Niles, played by Samberg, and his much younger girlfriend, played by Meredith Hagner, hang out in the hotel room, and you can kind of tell that something's kind of off about Niles from this first scene. So then we proceed to the wedding reception where Sarah, played by Melody, is this gloomy maid of honor / sister of the bride. Her family considers her a liability who drinks too much and sleeps around, and she honestly feels overshadowed by her younger sister's selfishness. Niles hits on Sarah and then they proceed to hook up. But right before it gets heated, Niles gets shot by an arrow from Roy, played by J.K. Simmons. We are then told that Niles is in this time loop where he relives the same day over and over again, similar to the movie Groundhog Day. But now, Sarah is stuck too. So the rest of the movie is pretty much showing them interacting together and growing together as this couple, dealing with Roy on occasion and dealing with just everybody within a decent radius, and going about different things every day and trying to live a somewhat satisfying life over and over again on the same day. So seeing these two characters interact and live carefree lives is very sweet, until it is revealed that Sarah does have a dark secret. Now I'm not going to go into this too much here because it is definitely spoiler territory, but it ends up making, honestly, each day very tragic. So even though the story is not the most surprising, I did feel myself being able to predict a few things here and there. I do think the direction and the script is very fresh, and some of the cinematography is very, very beautiful, and there are multiple really funny moments. But the main thing about this movie that is really good is the relationship between Sarah and Niles, and I think this really comes from great performances from both Samberg and Melody. They have some really great chemistry with each other, and it is really just fun to watch them on the screen. Because this is a romance, one can kind of figure out the ending, but getting there is a really fun journey. Both characters are intelligent, like when Sarah decides to learn quantum physics, and they're flawed and afraid of their own feelings. And I think the film's ability to delve into their relationship is what makes it an enjoyable watch. Both Samberg and Melody have some great scenes together and really could be thought as a fictional pairing for future movies, and you don't even have to do sequels. I honestly would just watch them as starring actors in another romantic movie or something together. I think they would work very well. And honestly, J.K. Simmons' Roy has some really good scenes too, though he's not in this movie very much. Even with this enjoyable cast, I do think that the film seemingly brushes over a Voting isn't just going to the polls anymore on Election Day. Options like early voting, mail-in voting, and ballot drop boxes are available to more voters and are growing in popularity. How to Vote is a tool created by Democracy Works, and it breaks down the options your state offers by forecasting a ballot, empowering you to decide where and when to vote. Democracy works best when we all vote, but misinformation and confusion about election procedures have resulted in low voter turnout. How to Vote takes the guesswork out of the voting process. It is easy to use and helps folks from all over the country overcome many of the process barriers to voting. It is committed to helping you vote no matter what. You can use the How to Vote tool to sign up for election reminders, see what's on your ballot, get step-by-step assistance requesting your mail ballot, explore your options for returning your mail-in ballot, check your voter registration status, and find your local polling site and make sure that you have an appropriate ID to bring with you. Decide when and where you'll vote this year at howto.vote. A lot of the complicated issues and tries to focus a lot more on the love story. Yes, this is a romance, but when you deal with time travel, I feel that you have to at least try to address the complexity of it. And this film kind of puts things in there, but it's like a one line here or there and then forgets about it for the rest of the movie. So I think also the writing could have been a little bit better in the sense of establishing who Niles is. We kind of only know that he's from this kind of crappy relationship, but why did he get stuck in the first place? I don't really know anything about him. How long has he been stuck? I mean, it just says he's been there for a while, but how long is that? And I think that he could technically be 100+ years old and we don't know. So it's kind of odd to not really know anything about one of the main characters. And I think that goes similarly into what the time loop is itself. Why is it there? Again, why did he get stuck in it? It's shown later in the film that Sarah learns this quantum physics to understand it, but it's not really talked about to the audience. And so this whole montage basically shows her learning about it, but the audience doesn't get to learn about it. And it's interesting because the film even tries to allude that there are people who are still stuck in the loop other than these two, but are happy staying there. Why? How did they get stuck? There is little that I can remember or no explanation of why this loop exists. Or I understand it could be just this random thing in time, but we are in a fairly intelligent age now where there's got to be some type of explanation of what this is and why it's there, especially when it's time travel. And I just don't think that there was a really good explanation given. Could be just misremembering it, but I just think that it's not in there clear enough. And spoiler warning on this because this kind of is a very significant moment, or I think it's supposed to be, but the movie doesn't really do anything with it, and that's kind of my issue with it. It says that Niles lied to Sarah about sleeping with her many times in previous loops, and then he later apologizes. Yes, but that's it. It's a one, I'm sorry, and then they just keep going. She forgives him, I guess. And also, Sarah's story isn't really resolved very well because what her issue is the entire movie, they don't really close it well. They kind of show how it is closed in a way, but it's not closed, and it's something that she would have to confront after the movie ends in life. So it's kind of just a weird way to try to close it, but they don't really close it, and frankly, that was really bothersome for me. I will say Palm Spring is a generally romantic and really does feel kind of old-fashioned when it comes to these romances, but because of Adam Sandberg and it's a little bit more non-traditional in that sense, some of the humor is definitely not traditional or old-fashioned, and I think that Noati and Sandberg are both really great, and like I said, I would love to see them in another film together. However, the story is not what really matters in this film. The romance is between Niles and Sarah, aka the acting between Sandberg and Melody. They're the reasons why you should watch this movie, and if that's really all you want, a nice romance between these two people, this movie works very, very well, and it's worth watching. But for me, would I watch it again? No, because I don't really care about the story. I care about these two actors and these two characters. So maybe if they did another movie together, I would watch that because of that, and maybe the story would be better. But until then, I don't see myself rewatching this movie. So what did you think of the movie, and what are your favorite Andy Samberg movies? And also, who do you think is actually stuck in the loop and who isn't? Let me know. Hit me up on social media. The Formal Review is on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The URL is all the same. It's at The Formal Review. Please also subscribe to the podcast on your favorite service. It is on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and really, honestly, anywhere you can find podcasts. Also, I'm always wanting to grow and improve, so feel free to leave a review on your favorite service. I see the numbers, and I do this for you all, and I want to keep it entertaining. I really appreciate everyone supporting me by listening and talking about movies with me online. For those who have contributed financially, I really thank you for supporting me in that way. For those who want to financially contribute, please go to anchor.fm/the-formal-review and click support this podcast. And I thank you very much in advance, and any donation is appreciated. Thank you all for tuning in once again, and until next time, well, I won't say it's movies, but be safe, wash your hands, and take care, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Formal Review. We hope you'll join us again.